fish world. Let's talk about some fish fiesta here. So I'm going to kind of walk you through basically what I feed my fish. It's kind of like everything else lately, kind of crazy. I've sort of been experimenting, and it's the sort of thing when you're kind of learning and you really want to do this well, is you have to try things and figure out what works for you. So this is pretty much my arsenal of fish food, and I have some betta. This is one of the things that I feed them. It's by Hikari. Hikari is actually one of the companies I really like. I've kind of gotten to be kind of picky with fish food. I've really seen benefits in the way my fish look when I feed a higher quality food. So I've kind of become a believer in that. I also have been getting a lot less sick fish when I kind of just threw in a few extra dollars and got some better food. So these are little pellets. These float. That's the one thing I really like about these, besides the fact that it's a higher quality food, is that they float. And bettas are surface feeders, so they really like this. I also have for my betta, beta, I guess, whatever you particularly prefer, something kind of new. I've got these little containers, so I like to keep things in so that I can keep the bulk fresh. New Life Spectrum beta food, and these are 1 millimeter, the same pretty much as the BioGold, Beta BioGold by Hikari. Really liking these, I have to say. They are semi-sinking. They do float, but not for really long, so I've been kind of trying to make sure that my betta sees them. I'm like, look, here's your food, right here, and then he eats them. They actually advertise on their website, when I was doing some research, that you feed them strictly the New Life Spectrum for 10 days, you'll see a difference. Feed them for 30 days, and it will be drastic. So I am trying that. This is a sample that I got, and we will see. So far it's been a couple of days. They really like it. They get very, very excited when this goes into their tank. So they're enjoying that. Occasionally, really rarely, I do have freeze-dried bloodworms. Hikari makes freeze-dried. They're in my freezer. Yeah, kind of had to get over being squeamish about that. These are freeze-dried version of that. I'm not really sure how I feel about the freeze-dried food. Again, a lot of controversial information, good, not good. They seem to like this just as well as the freeze-dried. I am a little bit pickier when it comes to the bloodworms because I really want to make sure that they are cleaned out well, that there are no parasites. Hikari does that very well, and they also infuse them with vitamins right into them. I kind of notice, forgive the terminology, but they tend to be juicier looking and a bit fatter and less transparent, so I really feel like there's more to them. As far as betta goes, I pretty much only feed them the bloodworms. I prefer to feed them the frozen, only rarely. It's kind of a treat. I don't like to use it as a dietary thing, but I give it to them when maybe once every while I'll do that. Looks like this in the freeze-dried version. Bio-encapsulated multivitamins, whatever. So I'm kind of on the fence about the freeze-dried, but as far as the frozen, I really like that. My dwarf frog eats the frozen bloodworms, loves them. Gosh, you'd think it was Christmas. So speaking of my dwarf frog, African dwarf frog, this, forgive the packaging, this is the Spectrum. Like I said, I like to keep things fresh, so I put them in these small containers a little bit, and then I vacuum pack them to keep the bulk because, gosh, my dwarf frog isn't even as big as this container. He's smaller than this container, and look at the size of this. So, I don't know. It's really big, so I vacuum pack it. So, 2 millimeters. They're twice the size as the beta ones. Again, he really likes these, He's really picky. I've been having a really hard time getting my frog to eat pellets. I was doing these, the HBC. You can see they're much bigger. I mean, his mouth is not very big, and he was struggling with these, and couldn't get them in, or they'd get caught, or he'd spit them out, only got them in halfway. I ended up cutting them in half, and then they'd start disintegrating too quickly before he could get to them. These are the New Life Spectrum, much nicer size. But as far as if you can't get this, or this is pretty expensive, it was like $12 for that container. If you're not going to go that route, I prefer the HBC over any other commercial brands that I've seen, like that are easy to get. The Zoom Ed and the Jurassic, way too small, way too small. He can't even find them, really. They get lost in the substrate, and he wasn't really even recognizing them, so to speak. It was almost like teasing them. He could smell them, but he wasn't able to get them. They were just way too small. The HBC is pretty good. Top Fin makes one, same size, but he didn't really care for that as much as this. This, by far, his favorite, the New Life Spectrum. So that's my new go-to frog food there. And then he gets that like twice a week, and then once a week I'll give him his frozen bloodworms. He really likes that. Now let's talk about my guppy. My spoiled guppy. So my guppy have all kinds of things to go with. They have Hikari Fancy Guppy. This is a semi-floating pellet. Teeny, 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 tiny. I mean, it's smaller than a 0.5. I have 0.5 granules, and these are smaller than this. This is almost like a powder. They like it. It's really harder for them to eat, though, because it's so powder-like. It just sort of floats away on the top of the water, and they have a little bit harder time. I ended up using a feeding ring, and I put the feeding ring on top, put this in it. They have an easier time finding it. They like it when they can get it. It's good stuff. Then I found these, which were larger. These are micro wafers for live bearers and guppies and such, and they're a little bit bigger in there. These are probably closer to a 0.5 millimeter, and they like these. They like these a lot. So, kind of feeding these. Then I discovered that, lo and behold, New Life Spectrum, my thing I've been trying here lately, they sent me a sample of guppy. I mentioned that I have guppy as well as, betta, and really small, teeny tiny, semi-sinking. I don't know what it is about this food or what they put in it specifically, but my guppy are loving these. They're like teeming the top of the water. I don't like work for New Life Spectrum or anything, but I'm telling you, everything that I have seems to really like this stuff. Yeah, I don't really get that, but they all just go kind of crazy. It's like they leap out of the water almost for this stuff. I don't know, but they really like it. So I'm also just started feeding them when I got their sample 10 days exclusively, and see what happens, see if their colors get vibrant or whatever they say, or I don't know if it's just a gimmick or whatever, but as far as them eating it, they really like this stuff too. So I looked at the ingredients, and there's a lot of whole herring, whole krill, a lot of vegetables and fruits and different things, and spirales. So it's almost like it just has a lot of really good stuff. So maybe they just are smarter than humans, and they identify what's good for them. So that's basically what I feed them. The only other thing I have in here, again, the other ones I showed you in the back there are not opened yet. Once I open them, I like to vacuum seal them. So have some mini algae wafers here, which I put in there for my shrimp sometimes. Really tiny wafers. They're really good. They don't waste so much. And then I have my shrimp cuisine, which my shrimp I haven't really been eating as much. They kind of prefer to pick on micro wafers and these micro algae wafers, I guess. I don't know why. I have to figure out, maybe I'm not feeding them in the right way, and that's why, I don't know, but I have to figure that out. So anyway, that's pretty much the amphibian / fish restaurant. So thanks for watching.